What's happening, you guys? Yo, welcome to Comic Book Corner. This is episode 3 of Comic Book Corner. This is your host, yours truly, the amazing OMD, aka Doc Savage, the man of bronze. And welcome to Comic Book Corner. We got a lot of cool things to talk about today, mainly the return of Wesley Snipes as Blade. I knew this wasn't going to work out. I think the guy's name is Mahershala. He had been in films like I think it was almost Driving Miss Daisy, like where he was a piano player. It's supposedly a real true story. Anyway, that particular actor, the only other Marvel thing that Mr. Ali was in was he played Diamondback or whatever that guy's name was, the character on Luke Cage, the Netflix Marvel series. He had been slated to play the new Blade in the new Blade movies. And I kind of see where they were going with this. I kind of see the reason why they wanted to do what they did as far as casting him. Good actor, right? Superb actor, amazing actor, to be honest with you. Uh, and I think his portrayal of Blade would have been interesting. I'll say that. He actually was in Predators too, as the African warlord, the one that had I think he had a machete and like some kind of other crazy gun in that movie. But yeah, I think he'd have been okay. But the return of Wesley Snipes as Blade in some form or fashion, I'm not sure. I just been hearing. It's not rumors either. From what I understand, this is a solid thing that's happening. Hopefully, he gets his own standalone film. But from what I was told and what I've been hearing, is that he's going to reprise his role as in a cameo in either a Spider-Man Tom Hiddleston film or another film. I'm not sure. I don't really have all the information, but it has come down the pipe that Wesley Snipes is returning as Blade, in the Blade films for the MCU. Let me just go ahead and applaud that because Marvel. Now, first off, everybody knows the situation with Wesley Snipes. He had the tax evading thing. He ended up going to prison. He also uh, got out of jail and really wasn't getting a lot of film offers. He wasn't getting a lot of film offers at all, to be honest with you. So I think he ended up, there's no thinking about it. He definitely ended up in the film with Eddie Murphy, which was Coming to America 2, as the African king, opposing whatever, I would almost say Wakanda, as the African king, opposing whatever the fictitious African country is in Coming to America. I can't call the name. Zamunda. That's the name of it, Zamunda. And he was great. He also was in uh, the not Wesley Snipes, Sylvester Stallone's Expendables franchise, and I think he did an amazing job in that movie. He looked like the old Wesley again, as far as like fighting and killing and the whole shebang. So it's really, really great news to hear he's back. Marvel should have done this. Um, he's in great physical shape. I know he can play the role. He could play old Blade because Blade ended up getting like white in his hair on the sides of his head. So I think he could probably play that role really, really well. Um, Also, I have to be very honest about this particular thing that I just found out. Some some of the characters that are going to be in the new Deadpool movie. Now, Colossus is going to be in it. There's going to be an appearance of a character who was briefly appeared in Deadpool 2, Shatterstar. There's going to be a lot of cameos and a lot of appearances of I think they something about that I was just saw this the other day. I'm trying to remember that somebody's going to be She-Hulk. Yeah, there's something going on with the actress, actor, actress. I think there's a big deal about that going on too that we need to squash. But the actor who played She-Hulk is up in arms because there's a possibility that in the new Deadpool final cut, which is being released this July, her portion or her fight with Deadpool has been cut from the film. And she's not pissed. I mean, she's not pissed. She's livid about it. She's more than pissed. She's so upset that she is planning legal action against Marvel and the director. Um, I just heard this. This is not rumors. This is actually factual. And let me say something about the She-Hulk series on Netflix. It was brutally underwhelming. Now, when I heard that they were going to make this, I actually was excited. I'm not one of those people that have a problem. I have a problem with some of the things that the MCU is doing because of the times we live in and trying to give women their strength and their voice because they already have had that and been had that. They've been telling us what to do, for over 25 years. Women have had their voice for a long time and they just want to be voicier, which is fine. I don't want to get if a lady sees this, I don't want y'all to be saying nothing to me. But I just think it's a little bit of overkill in media today. Trying to show how strong you guys are. Y'all tougher than nails. Most women are just really super solid. But I'm just saying these films that you guys are making, like the last Captain Marvel film with you got three really prevalent heroes from Marvel, and that movie struggled. It really struggled. I hate that it did, but it did. It just was. It was very underwhelming. Brie Larson. I'm gonna be honest with you. Anytime they would say a female character was gonna be like Angeline Lilly, the chick who plays the Wasp. As you can see, I got the Wasp T-shirt on. Perfect fucking casting. Y'all remember her from Lost. I remember her from a couple other shows too, but Lost was like she was really good in that. And when they cast her to play the part, uh, I was like, dude, that's dope. Come on, let's be honest. Wolverine, Scarlett Johansson, perfect. Wolverine, they underwhelmed the Black Widow standalone film. They shouldn't have killed her first and then did the movie. It's a lot of mistakes Marvel's made, but when it comes to the stuff that they're trying to do as far as like to prop up women in this super way and all that, it's already done. What you got to do in order to please comic book fans is to do this. One, cast properly. Cast the fucking people properly. It all started back in the day during the X-Men films of when 20th Century Fox had the X-Men franchise, which God, thank you, Lord, that it's in the MCU. But see, the MCU may fumble the ball too, and I think they already did with Fantastic Four. But I'll digress. In the beginning, when they made the X-Men live-action film, I was dead set against Hugh Jackman being Wolverine. I didn't think he was. First of all, he's too fucking tall to play Wolverine. The man is 6'3", so I guess they wanted him to be really imposing. Russell Crowe is 6 feet tall. He's actually way closer to what Wolverine height would be. They miscast that part. Halle Berry, who I think is adorable and always thought she was very attractive, the whole shit, good actor, the whole nine, terribly miscast as Storm. Now, the new girl who played Storm, this other young lady, I don't know her name, but she's a great actor. Really embodies the character of Storm. But we're talking back in the day when they were first like starting to do. New Line was like cutting loose, doing stuff, helping out. Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, I remember 20th Century Fox. My bad, I'm tripping. I don't know why I said New Line. That was terrible. Well, Fox, and then Bryan Singer, who I just think is horrible when it comes to superhero films. Sorry, Brian, I just think you can't do it, bro. Just stop trying. Uh, he cast Halle Berry as Storm, which I believe at the time, David Bowie, who was alive and well, his wife Iman, who is an actor. Nobody could say, well, Iman can't, she's a model, but she's never acted. Bullshit. Iman has been in a lot of films and was very good in all those films. Very believable in all the roles she had played. Go look up Iman's, cinematography or whatever they call it, and you'll see the films to her credit. She's actually a very accomplished actor, and I believe, and she fit. This is the reason why I know I should have been a casting director, especially when it comes to superhero films. First off, I cast in the eye of the beholder, meaning I'm gonna cast people I believe fit and embody Spider-Man. Whoever cast for the Spider-Man Sam Raimi films with Tobey Maguire, the motherfuckers knew what they were doing. Only thing that happened to that franchise is people started to change positions. When the first one's a hit, the fact that they even made the first one, I believe, made people come see it. Now, the second thing you have to do if you make the film is actually make people who love the comics love it, which therefore people who are not even comic fans will fall in love with it because the comic motherfuckers are going to tell all the rest of the people, this is the closest thing to the real thing I've ever seen, live action, da-da-da-da-da. And that's what they did. Sam Raimi's inception of the Spider-Man films was amazing. Toby was perfect as Peter Parker. It was really good. I was enamored by this. The guy, that Joe Manganiello played the bully. I forget the guy what is the guy named Brock or some shit like that. And he played the bully that messed with Peter when he's in high school. Perfect casting. James Franco as the Green Goblin's son, Norman Osborn Jr. or whatever. Perfect casting. They just fucked up down the road. The second one, that could, with Doc Ock, it could have been way better, but it was great too. It was right on point. The Molina guy being chosen as Dr. Octavius was great casting. Everybody seems to think, though, that Mary Jane, I know the girl's name, I can't think of it to save my life right now, was miscast. They don't think she's very attractive. I mean, there were other people that were cast that were screen tested for that role, and they decided on her. So I don't think she's that terrible at all. I think she did the job. I'll just say that. But to be honest with you, those are the closest renditions of Spider-Man that I believe are the closest. Obviously, the OG Superman film with Christopher Reeves, that was just amazing. I mean, I was a kid, it was like 82 or some shit like that. And to actually see this man take off flying off rooftops and shit like that, they did a good job. They did a good job making him look like he was taking off. I mean, there were other scenes that were horrible where he was looked like that. Well, the second one, Superman 2, was just terrible. The flying scenes and you knew those were dolls. It was just bad. But the first one just enamored us with the fact that they made a superhero film and made it look so effortless that he flew. And that, back in the 80s, I mean, come on. Today's filmmaking, hell, you could make anything. You could you could do anything if you got the right people and the right people with the right software. You can make anything happen. That's the reason why I was happy when they started doing superhero films, and superhero films are not going anywhere. What they need to do is just calm down, set up different teams, making these films as you go. The stories, make sure those stories are good. The casting is key. The fucking casting is key. I'm sorry to curse. I know it's a comic book show, but the casting is key. If you cast right, 9 times out of 10, let's hope when you cast a person and they kind of fit the build of the role that they can actually act too. So far, like perfect Robert Downey Jr., everybody know hands down that the Tony Stark, that's the reason why they're trying to bring him back. Well, first off, he's dead, but you know what I'm saying? They're trying to figure out a way to bring him back or something, like, because that was magic and he slapped his finger, da 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 da. And I can see why they want to do that. Because you know, it's Tony Parker, for God's sakes. Tony Parker. Shout out to Tony Parker, San Antonio Spurs. Not Tony Parker. Tony Stark. That's hilarious. So you're gonna have fun when you come to comic book corner, because you know I'm silly. I love this genre. I love it, man. I wish I was into it more, like I was when I was a kid. I think because I'm getting older, I'm kind of really getting back into the swing of reading them. My girlfriend hooked me up with some special edition stuff that I kind of started, you know, touching, messing around with, reading. I need to get another. If there's somebody out there that sees this episode, and you could please go into the comments and tell me a .com or something that I could go and get the original, not the original, but the new updated version of the origins of the superheroes. That I need that. I gotta have that. I know it's probably, you know, if I do find it, it's gonna probably cost me, but I need to. I could sit there for hours, especially if it's a thick one and has all the heroes, the powers, you know, the abilities, blah blah blah, the origin of how they became. I used to read that when I was a kid just to get to know these characters that I was reading. You know, a lot of times you pick up a comic, it's already well into, you know, its chapters. It's not like you got Spider-Man 1, you know, anybody that that's the reason why people collect comics. For those who don't know why people collect comics and they become so valuable, is because if you can find the rare, let's just say you find a Spider-Man #1, first time ever made, Peter Parker gets his powers, you're going to want the rest of those. And then you're going to want the Amazing Spider-Man, just like behind me right here, the Amazing Spider-Man uh, episode 1, and then all of the complete. You do all that, and then you have them in mint condition. That's why they become so valuable. Because, you know, if just think today, you just wake up and you say, you know what, I'm going to get into comic books. You don't even know where to begin. First off, you want to begin with the first comic this hero ever had. You know what I'm saying? So that's why comic book collection, and that's the thing too. When you buy comics and they're rare, you're not even supposed to open them and read them. You got to wear gloves and all kinds. This stuff is really, it's serious business. Comic Con is a big deal. Having a booth in there is incredible. E3, it's just as big as E3, and E3 is the electronic thing, you know, or the games and blah blah blah. What else do they be having? I forget that. I just worked one of these conventions a few years ago, but it wasn't Comic Con where they had the mystery boxes and all that stuff. I worked a booth that had, you know, I forget what they call that. It's God, it's weird. All kind of characters, more people dressed up. It's a dressy up type deal. You know what I'm saying? But it's not Comic Con. I can't think of the name of it. You probably somebody on the comments later on let me know. And yeah, but the excitement that I have to know that Wesley Snipes is returning as Blade is amazing. Um, casting has to be really, really prevalent from here on when it comes to the MCU, because I think they're going to end up losing people. A lot of people are bitching about a lot of stuff that they've been doing. This new Secret Wars stuff coming up. It was a mistake, as far as I'm concerned, to Me Too Jonathan Majors and go away from the Kang angle. I think that was a mistake. I think Kang should be in there somewhere, even if they do go to the Secret Wars type deal, as the next like thing that's happening. They need to introduce some new characters. They need to introduce the Canadian super team, Alpha Flight, with Vindicator as the leader. They need to do that. They're gonna do the new film that's coming out. It's called the oh God, I know the name of it. The Thunderbolts, and that team's gonna consist of Red Hulk, the Russian Captain American. I forget the guy's name, but he's supposed to be in that, and some other characters that are part of the Thunderbolts team. If you've read that which I really wasn't, I didn't really get a chance to read the Thunderbolt episode or volumes of the comic books or the episodes or whatever. I've heard of them and seen them fighting the Hulk in some Hulk comics, but that's what I'm saying. It's so deep, man. It's like I love talking about this stuff, but sometimes it even loses me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like it's a lot to it. It's a whole, you know what I'm saying? People that are into this stuff it's a whole nother world. I'm gonna tell you something too. I used to play D&D with some guys. And I was out, I'm one of them people, I'm halfway in, halfway out. I mean, I got one foot in the door, one foot out. I like the shit, but I ain't into it that much. These motherfuckers was like living, not really living their characters, walking around with swords and shit, but they would be talking. They would call themselves the names. Yeah, that shit was crazy. They would meet these particular guys, and shout out to my boy Jason. I ain't seen him in many moons. His little clique and them little. I mean, I'm sorry, they would be considered nerds. You know how that go. But they would meet at a hobby shop uh, with figurines and some of the nicest little statues, superheroes, The Hobbit, all kind of bullshit. And they would meet in that store. They would close that store. The guy who owned the store would close the store, and we'd go in the back. In the back area, they had a big table with a whole little thing with the trees, all that shit, with figurines. It's like a whole new world. These motherfuckers were into this shit. I have to admit, it was fun because it was really detailed. I mean, we was in there. I think I showed up to that shit like 8. Motherfuckers didn't leave there till like 2, 3 in the morning. We out in Westwood off of Gailey in a hobby store over there. You know what I'm saying? It's because the whole night. If you've been to UCLA around UCLA in that area in Westwood, it's always people walking around in there. It's movie theaters, shops, people just walking there. It's right by UCLA, so the college. So it's really packed. Shit, but when we left, it wasn't nobody out there. It was crazy. And that just shows you how much people are into this shit. I had a really good time. I ain't gonna lie. I enjoyed that. The dude made the story real realistic. You get into it, you mentally, that shit would take you there. You'd be like, oh yeah, is that what's happening? Da-da-da. And, it was real interesting. So I gotta give them guys a shout out. And let's talk about the Deadpool movie real quick. Deadpool 3 about to come out, and it's got Wolverine in it. I heard Colossus is in it. I heard Dr. Xavier, Patrick Stewart's gonna be in it because he's working with the Time Police, and they're asking him to do some things in different time periods and different realities. He's gonna see all these different people. Who else is it? It's a lot of people that's in it. I just was talking about the She-Hulk portion of it was taken out, and the actor or actress, however you say it, was very unhappy about that. And I'm kind of glad they did because I think her series was just very underwhelming to me, and very much one of the reasons why I say what I did about just creating shows just to put a woman in it because we're in this woman powerful thing, and I don't want ladies to come after me by saying this. I'm not saying nothing. I love y'all characters. I love that shit, but stop trying to make y'all more powerful than the men and all this bullshit. Bullshit. For some reason, even Brie Larson was on that bullshit. She's all in this woman in power, going back and forth with the guys on the shoot about this shit. It's like, really? That energy fucking up the whole vibe. So if y'all just put the characters in there, cast them right, and just have good scripts too. Just don't. This new Craven the Hunter movie, the guy who played Quicksilver in the Age of Ultron, Scarlet Witch's brother, who was killed. Now he's Craven the Hunter. They do this all the time because you remember Chris Evans used to be Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four, and now he's Captain America. So they do this all the time. The Craven film looks amazing. It looks like it might be something. It's real dark, real gritty. It's real. It's the type of film you want to see if you're gonna do a Marvel film. They even tease Spider-Man being in it, which I think is cool because Craven's gonna eventually. Now they're starting to make. If they keep on this path and introduce these characters, introduce Blade in the Morbius film, which I think was horrible but could have been great. The timing of these movies is terrible. People just think up some shit and just throw it in there, and they okay it. Don't do that. Let's do this shit right. Let's do smooth. Let's do it, and people will just gradually gravitate to everything and be like, that was good. That was tight. That connects. You have to be smarter than that, guys. You guys are handling billions and billions of dollars, 10, 15 different shoots all over the world. You gotta be smarter. Your showrunners have to be really good. They can't be on no political agendas. You're trying to entertain people. Stop trying to send messages. We don't need none of that. We don't need no messages. We don't need no messages. We just don't. The only message we need is, could Wolverine, fight the Thing? I think the Thing had kicked the shit out of Wolverine, to be honest with you. I'm sorry. First off, the adamantium might fuck that Rock up a little bit. But I'm gonna be honest with you, especially if you're gonna have Hugh Jackman still as Wolverine, I think you should have switched up. For the Deadpool movie, they should have finally went on ahead and switched up and came with the new Logan. That's what I think. The kid that played Robin Hood and also was in the damn spy movies or the spy spoof films, the what is it called? The Gentleman or some shit like that. I forget what it was called. I forget, but that kid was supposed to be slated as testing to be the new Wolverine. He would have been, because he's a short, little stocky fucker. You know what? The guy who plays Venom, who also played Bane in the Batman movie, Tom something. Not Tom. Forget it. I can't think of these guys all the time. I normally have a great memory when it comes to actors. That's my shit. But since I can't think of his name, he could have been a great Wolverine. That's a method actor dude right there. I think he would have been great as Wolverine. He's stocky. He would have got cut up even more. He would have did some Jake Gyllenhaal type getting in shape. I know him to be Wolverine. He'd have been perfect at Wolverine. If you saw him in that MMA movie that he was in the way he looked in that and how he threw his hand, man, that's Wolverine, bro. That's Wolverine. But they're very enamored with Hugh Jackman, and Hugh Jackman was the first. That's why I hate the casting of that original X-Men film, because he was the only one stood out. He was the only one stood out. The rest of them were very Cyclops, terrible casting. I like the actor, terrible. That Vanka lady who played Jean Grey, no, too old. Very beautiful, very cool, too old. The casting of the Bryan Singer, the Superman he chose for his film, he don't have it. He does not have it. James Gunn kind of have it. What's the other guy? There's a few other guys. The guy who did Civil War, the guy who directed Captain America Civil War, keep him on a lot of these films. If I was you, I would take 3, 4 real solid ones who've had some hits, and I would keep them. Fuck all these other directors mixing it up. That Dave Filoni doing Love and Thunder. Horrible. Get these dudes the fuck out of here. Lock in on the ones who've made the dopest movies. Age of Ultron was cool. was cool. Whoever directed that, he's cool. Civil War, Captain America, that was the shit. Whoever that is, keep them on staff and just lock in with them guys. The Guardian of the Galaxy dude, James Gunn, he all right. You know what I'm saying? He okay. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna be real with you. I put it, hey, you know what? Thor, to me, that character has been very underwhelming in these movies. But the original Thor film, which could have been better, it was all right. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it a 7. Kenneth Branagh, he did a good job. You know who else is a great director of these movies? James Favreau, or John Favreau, not James, John Favreau, the one who did the first Daredevil, which was terrible with Ben Affleck. And but he did the Iron Man film, which was epic, which kind of started this off. But everybody knows Blade, a New Line Cinema film, before X-Men, before any of this shit. Blade, Wesley Snipes, New Line Cinema, saved Marvel. And I am so happy to report that my boy is back. He is back. Blade is back. Wesley Snipes. And if you haven't heard, go look it up and go Google that. It's very important that you that you know about that, because I was just too happy. I was too happy that I heard about that. Hey y'all, just like I said, Blade, Wesley Snipes back. Look for the new Craven the Hunter film coming out. Deadpool 3 out in July this year. A couple of other Marvel films coming too that they're not really telling you about. Believe it or not, they're going to make a new Immortals film. But the big news, Wesley Snipes returning as Blade. Can't wait to see what they're going to do with that. It's your boy, OMD, a.k.a. Doc Savage and Man of Bronze. This has been episode 3 of Comic Book Corner. Stay tuned for the next one, true believers.